If you're listening to this, you are likely carrying a burden that feels too heavy for one pair of shoulders to bear. You are searching for a light in a room that has grown unexpectedly dim. Welcome to Power in Words. Here, we do not just listen, we rediscover the strength in our bones. Today, we walk together, guided by the profound wisdom of Friedrich Nietzsche, who left us a map for the darkest nights. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Let us begin by acknowledging the reality of your situation, the raw and unvarnished truth of the human condition. Life, in its essence, is not a linear journey of comfort and ease. It is a tumultuous ocean, vast and unpredictable, where the waves of circumstance often crash over our heads without warning. You may be standing in the wreckage of a dream that took years to build. You may be facing a diagnosis that has rewritten your future in an instant, or perhaps you are simply worn down by the grinding monotony of a daily struggle that seems to have no end. This is the how. The how is the suffering. It is the grief that sits like a stone in your chest, the rejection letter, the empty bank account, the silence of a house that was once filled with laughter. The how is the sheer, brutal mechanics of existence that threaten to crush the spirit. It is natural to feel afraid when the how becomes overwhelming. It is a deeply human response to look at the mountain in front of you and feel small, to look at the storm and feel defenseless. But I want to speak to the part of you that is listening beneath the fear, the part of you that is ancient and resilient. The great psychologist Viktor Frankl, who survived the unimaginable horrors of concentration camps, understood Nietzsche's words not as a philosophical theory, but as a mechanism for survival. He observed that those who survived the camps were not necessarily the strongest physically, nor were they the ones who had the most resources. They were the ones who had a vision of the future, a person waiting for them, a book left to write, a task left to complete. They had a why. What is this why that Nietzsche speaks of? It is not a vague notion of happiness, for happiness is a fleeting guest that comes and goes with the weather. Your why is something far more robust, far more ancient. It is the anchor that holds the ship steady when the hurricane tears through the sails, keeping you from drifting into the abyss. But it does more than hold you steady, it transforms you. It is the realization that your pain is not an accident of the universe, but a forge in which your pure character is being tempered. When you can look at your suffering and say, this is for something, the suffering changes texture. It ceases to be meaningless torture and becomes a noble sacrifice. Consider the mother who works 3 jobs, her hands calloused and her back aching, sleeping only 4 hours a night. If you were to ask her how she survives the exhaustion, the how of her difficult life, she would point to her children. Her love for them, her desire to see them educated and safe, is a why, so powerful that it renders the lack of sleep irrelevant. The pain is still there, yes, but it is born with a dignity that transforms it into an act of love. This is the psychology of transcendence. When we align ourselves with a purpose greater than our own immediate comfort, the threshold of what we can endure expands infinitely. You must understand that the modern world often tries to sell you for a different story. We are told that the goal of life is the absence of pain, that success is a hammock on a beach with no worries. But this is a lie that leaves us fragile. If your only goal is comfort, then the slightest wind will knock you over. But if your goal is meaning, if your goal is growth, then the storm becomes your teacher. As ancient Stoic wisdom reminds us, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. You are currently in the friction. You are being polished. Let us look deeper into the architecture of your own mind. When you lack a why, every obstacle feels like a personal insult. The traffic jam, the rude comment, the financial setback, they all feel like evidence that the world is against you. But when you possess a burning why, those same obstacles transform. They become mere logistics. They are simply terrain to be navigated on the way to your destination. If you are climbing a mountain to save the person you love most in the world, you do not stop because it is raining. You do not stop because your legs are tired. You do not stop because the path is steep. You keep climbing because the why, the how, becomes secondary. Perhaps you are sitting there right now thinking, but I do not have a why. I have lost my purpose. This is a terrifying place to be, but it is also the fertile ground where new life begins. Purpose is not something you find lying on the street. It is something you build. It is something you forge. You must ask yourself the difficult questions. What is it that you love enough to suffer for? What is the contribution that only you can make? Maybe your why is to break a generational cycle of trauma in your family so that your children never have to carry the heavy baggage you were handed. That is a noble and powerful why. Maybe your why is to create art that makes others feel less alone. Maybe your why is simply to see what kind of person you can become if you do not give up. There is a profound psychological shift that happens when you take responsibility for your own meaning. You stop waiting for a savior, and you become the hero of your own narrative. You realize that you are the author, and while you cannot control the plot points, the tragedies, the accidents, the losses, you have absolute control over the character arc. You decide how the protagonist responds. Do they crumble or do they rise? As Maya Angelou so beautifully put it, you may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, and how you can still come out of it. Think of the why as a lens through which you view the world. Without it, the world is chaos, a random series of cruel events. With it, the world is a curriculum. Every heartbreak teaches you compassion. Every failure teaches you humility and strategy. Every betrayal teaches you self-reliance. The how of life, the adversity, is the weight in the gym. It is heavy, it is uncomfortable, and it crushes you down. But if your why is to become strong, then you welcome the weight. You do not resent the gravity. You respect it, for it is the resistance that builds the muscle of your soul. We often look at people who have achieved greatness and assume they had it easy or that they were gifted with some supernatural talent. But if you look closer, if you read the biographies of the people who have shaped history, you will find that their lives were often marked by incredible suffering. Beethoven wrote his greatest symphonies while going deaf. Milton wrote Paradise Lost while blind. They had a why that was louder than the silence, a vision that was brighter than the darkness. They bore the how because the creative fire within them could not be extinguished by mere circumstance. I want you to visualize your life as a great cathedral. The how, the struggles you are facing right now, are the scaffolding. They are ugly, they are obstructive, and they block the view. But they are necessary for the construction. One day the scaffolding will come down, and what will remain is the structure you built. If you build with resentment, with bitterness, with victimhood, your cathedral will be gray and cold. But if you build with a why grounded in love, in service, in growth, your cathedral will be a sanctuary for others. The pain you feel today is the chisel chipping away the excess stone to reveal the masterpiece within. There is a concept in psychology known as post-traumatic growth. It suggests that while trauma breaks us, it can also break us open. It can deepen our capacity for empathy, heighten our appreciation for life, and clarify our priorities. But this growth is not automatic. It requires the active ingredient of meaning. You must choose to find the lesson. You must choose to use your pain as fuel. As Rumi famously said, the wound is the place where the light enters you. Do not hide your wounds. Do not be ashamed of your scars. They are the map of your survival. They are the proof that you face the how, and you are still standing. Let's bring this down to the very ground you stand on. Tomorrow morning, when the alarm rings, the how will be waiting for you. The fatigue will be there. The anxiety may be there. The uncertainty of the future will be hovering in the doorway. In that moment, before your feet hit the floor, you must summon your why. You must remind yourself why you are doing this. Are you doing it for the version of yourself that is waiting 5 years down the road? Are you doing it for the people who look at you and see hope? Are you doing it because you refuse to let the darkness win? When you anchor yourself in a deep why, you become dangerous to your demons. Fear relies on you being aimless. Fear relies on you being easily discouraged. But a person with a purpose is a force of nature. When you know why you are here, the petty criticisms of others slide off you like rain on glass. The setbacks that would have once stopped you in your tracks become mere speed bumps. You develop a grit, a tenacity, a resilience that is not loud or aggressive, but quiet and unbreakable. It is the resilience of water that cuts through rock, not by force, but by persistence. We must also talk about the connections between us. Sometimes your why is found in the eyes of another person. We are biologically wired for connection, for tribe, for community. If you cannot find a reason to fight for yourself right now, fight for someone else. Be the person who survives so that you can go back and help others across the bridge. There is immense power in service. When you are drowning in your own sorrows, the quickest way to the surface is often to reach out a hand to help someone else who is sinking. In saving them, you save yourself. You realize that your pain has given you a vocabulary of understanding that allows you to comfort others in a way that the unscarred never could. This journey is not about denying the pain. It is not about toxic positivity, where we pretend everything is fine when the house is burning. It is about standing in the center of the fire and deciding that you will not be consumed. It is about looking at the ashes and seeing the possibility of a phoenix. Nietzsche did not say the how would be easy. He said it would be bearable. And bearable is a victory. To bear something means to carry it, to lift it, to not let it crush you into the dust. You are capable of bearing so much more than you think. You are stronger than your depression. You are more durable than your grief. You are more expansive than your failures. Imagine for a moment that your life is a book. You are currently in a chapter filled with conflict and tension. It is a dark chapter, yes, but no great story is without conflict. If the hero never faced the dragon, never lost their way in the forest, never felt the sting of betrayal, there would be no triumph. Do not close the book just because the page is dark. Turn the page. Keep writing. Your why is the ink, your how is the paper, and the story. The story is entirely up to you. I invite you to take a deep breath. Feel the air filling your lungs. That breath is a gift. It is life asserting itself within you. It is a reminder that you are here, now, alive. As long as there is breath, there is hope. As long as there is a tomorrow, there is a chance to rebuild. Do not let the cruelty of the world harden your heart. Do not let the cynicism of others dim your light. Protect your why, as you would protect a flame in a windstorm. Cupped hands, watchful eyes, tender care. That flame is your lifeline. As we move toward the close of this reflection, I want you to remember that you are not alone in this. Every person you pass on the street is fighting a battle you know nothing about. We are all carrying our own heavy hows. But if we can all find our whys, if we can all live with intention and purpose, we create a tapestry of resilience that covers the world. Your victory is not just for you. It is a signal to everyone watching that it is possible to survive. It is possible to heal. It is possible to thrive after the worst has happened. You have within you a reservoir of potential that has yet to be tapped. The pressure you're feeling is not the end of you. It is the beginning of the diamond. Trust the process. Trust your capacity to adapt. Trust the voice inside you that whispers, keep going when the rest of the world screams, give up. That voice is your why. Listen to it. Follow it. Let it lead you out of the labyrinth of suffering and into the open field of possibility. The weight of the world is heavy, but your spirit is designed to lift. Your muscles may be tired, but your will is iron. Nietzsche saw the abyss, he stared into it, and he concluded that the human spirit is the unconquerable element. You are that spirit. You are the he or the she who has a why to live. And because of that, there is no how, no tragedy, no obstacle, no darkness that can permanently defeat you. You are built to endure. You are built to rise. You are built to turn the lead of your suffering into the gold of your wisdom. Remember, the power does not come from the absence of the struggle. The power comes from your response to it. The power comes from the words you tell yourself when you are alone in the dark. The power comes from the meaning you construct, brick by brick, from the rubble of your challenges. You are the architect. You are the builder. You are the survivor. Go forth with this knowledge. Let it settle into your heart. Let it be the foundation upon which you stand when the ground shakes. You have a why. And because you have a why, you can bear any how. Your life has meaning, your struggle has purpose, and your future is waiting to be written by your own hand. If you found your why today or are still searching for it, do not walk this path alone. Subscribe to Power in Words and let us build this sanctuary together. Like this video to share the light with others who are still waiting in the dark.